A-D-N.
It's HeadphonesNeil!
What's up, guys, and welcome back to HeadphonesNeil Reviews. I'm your host, as always, HeadphonesNeil, bringing you a little bit of a briefer episode than usual and concise, but it is going to be an update for the TV show and then the progress on the next video game gameplay that I'm going through. So to start it off, I am in the midst of Season 4 of Battlestar Galactica, so with all the events that have happened post the escape from New Caprica, we now have the quest for Earth still going on, but with the Cylons, we still have them dealing with wanting to find out who the final five are. We have their internal strife as far as power control between the different series, and then even internal strife with some of the select models. So between that and finding out who the final five are, that we have that going on. But then also with the revelation that 4 of the final 5 are on board Galactica in the form, and 2 of them are notably Tyrael and Colonel Ty. That was a particular revelation to me. So I was like, whoa, that's deep and revealing, basically, to the point where now I'm wondering, and this is something that I'm trying to stay spoiler free about, is who the final model is. And I'm going back and forth between Adama and Rosalind, just because I think the president could be a Cylon, just because she survived the cancer, and then of course, when they stop the search for Earth, her cancer disappears, but when it's on, she's fine, or vice versa, however you want to look at it. And then with Adama, with him surviving the wound, always having generally a calm demeanor, but if he's pushed, he gets angry to the point of the Cylons doing a very similar thing. So I'm kind of switching back and forth between either of them being the final Cylon model. If I were to say it right now, I would probably say it's Adama, just because he seems to fit the model a little bit, or the mold a little bit better. But regardless, we'll see how that goes. But with the return of Starbuck as well, that was not necessarily revealing. I was kind of expecting that, because the same thing happened with, I think it was Boomer, but one of them someone died and they came back, so I was like, well, it's possible they're gonna bring her back. I mean, with the character being a pivotal character in the show, it's like, and then having done that with Adama as well, that they shot him and he survived. So with things like that, it's one of those things where I figured she would be back in some role, so we'll see if her premonitions do get them to Earth. So but like I said, I'm staying spoiler free for the rest of the show, just because I want to see how it plays out and be surprised at whatever happens. But thinking forward a little bit, I got to thinking that I do want to rewatch Caprica, the prequel series to Battlestar Galactica, just because I remember watching the show early on, or I remember watching the show Caprica and wanting to probably go into Galactica afterwards, and I never did, or I never really liked Caprica that much. I could never get into it. But now that I've seen and I'm almost done with Battlestar Galactica, I almost want to go into it with a fresher pair of eyes to see if my perception changes on it, if it does live up to the series and franchise and all of that, or is it kind of like a Stargate Atlantis thing where it's a spin-off, it's not, it's indirectly tied to the events of the main show, and it's truly just a spin-off, and they don't give it the proper attention that it deserves. So that's in the plans to watch. I haven't decided on that yet, but I do it's kind of a feeling I have where I want to do that. So keep an eye out for that, and I'll keep everyone updated if I do decide to go down that road. But with that being said, with this conclusion, or like the forced stopping of my GTA San Andreas gameplay, I've started replaying or doing my 2025 gameplay of Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic. This is the Android version, the latest one on Google Play. I am playing with the usual mods of Jedi from the start, easy swoop racing, easy Pazak, and the no force restrictions mods. Jedi from the start, and I'll do a kind of recap in case you've never seen my prior gameplays, where Jedi from the start is the obvious one. It gives you your force powers at the start of the game rather than after leaving Terrace. That stemmed from my personal issue that Terrace takes forever to get through to play, especially if you're doing it running around the levels at normal speed, between the upper level, lower level, Undercity, the cantinas, the bases, and all of that stuff, and having her run all over the place for everything. It's a long level, especially for a tutorial, so having the ability to do force run makes it that much better, just to have that power to run faster and get through the level quicker. But also on the flip side, as it turns out, it actually also normalizes the story a little bit, because by the time you rescue Bastila, it gives, when she says, she senses the force, it gives it a little bit more context of why you would have the force to begin with, rather than just saying, oh, I sense the force in you, and then you have to keep playing the level as if there's not much you can do, or I don't know why I would sense the force, or something like that. You can say, you have the powers, it, something weird is going on with the visions, why you survived, and all of that stuff. So I actually like that a little bit better, and it helps you define your character a little bit early on, and it still maintains the revelation later in the game that you are in fact Revan. So with that being said, that's that one. Easy Pazak is more of just a personal thing that, while I like the game and I do like all the armor and goodies that you get throughout the game, in order to get the discount and some of the later stuff in the game, in order to have enough funds, because you don't necessarily have the option to make that much money in a normal gameplay of KOTOR, Easy Pazak is one of those things where it lets you win more often to get some quick credits. If you're on a random planet and you need to buy some stuff, you can place your wagers, win a few games, and earn some money. But also by the time you get to Yavin Station, and if you want a discount on the goods that the Rodian gives you, you have to beat him a whole bunch, to the point where you're taking most of his money, and he's like, well, I can't give you free stuff, but I can give you a discount. I forget if it is a requirement to do that in order to get the lightsaber crystals that are really high powered later in the game. But regardless, if you want to get some of the stuff that he sells but not have to pay full price, Easy Pazak mod is the way to make sure you can beat him to get that discount and keep getting some of the good stuff in the game. So that's why I use that. And then for easy swoop racing, it's more of an Android specific thing, because if you want to play those missions, it's fine, but on desktop it's fine because you can use your mouse, adjust sensitivity controls, it works out fine. It's a PC-based game by nature, so it's fine there. But on mobile, the port for that, and even like the space firing the turrets on the Ebon Hawk, is very sluggish and janky and not fun to use. So if you want to play those swoop racing missions and beat them and progress, there has to be a way around it to make it better. I mean, for me, in all these years, that's the one thing that hasn't really been fixed very well. So easy swoop racing basically just places all the pads in a straight line. So you still have to do the acceleration part, but you don't have to worry about the navigating left and right. So it's one of those things where it's more just, I want to play some of those missions, but because swoop racing on Android is a pain in the butt, I use that mod so that I can still beat those specific side missions. You don't necessarily have to play them. I mean, you can skip them if you want, and you don't even have to use the mod in that case. But if you do want to be a completionist or finish as many missions as possible, on Android, I recommend the Easy Swoop Racing mod. So that's the reasoning behind that. And then for the no force restrictions armor thing, it's more of just to unlock some additional armor and get a better look and feel for your character. That it's one of those things where it's kind of, I mean, I'm sure it was a limitation for the time to not give every character access to every armor, and you don't necessarily want to give certain, like a soldier's armor to a Jedi or Jedi armor to a non-Jedi and things like that. But also, it's one of those things now where it's like, it'd be cool to unlock some of the armor, like have a Mandalorian Jedi or have a Jedi and Mandalorian armor, or like what I'm doing right now is my character in Davik King's armor, which is a very cool look, and having him force run around and do all that stuff is very cool. And the armor is kind of reminiscent of a Mandalorian armor without the helmet. It's not bulky but strong and all that, and upgradable, and unlock some extra options for your character to give them some extra abilities. So it's just a nice thing to have, to be able to unlock force powers in any armor. So that's more of the reasoning for that. So with that being said, though, overall the gameplay is as expected for Terrace. Nothing special going on there. And I mean, for the game, if you've played it before, you kind of know what to expect. But so far, so good for unlocking my character, as far as having the speed and stats of a Mandalorian, like Boba Fett or Jango Fett. Just a lot of speed and stats and things like that. So as I'm giving him tech abilities, but also treat injury just for survivability. I've already unlocked the flurry fight option, and I'm working on the dual wielding of dueling, so he can work best with two lightsabers. And I mean, even with like Jango Fett, and I think Boba Fett had the rifle, but Jango Fett had the two guns. So either way, you want your character to be able to wield two weapons or use both hands simultaneously. So there's that. I think I already maxed out on the lightsaber focus ability, so that's not an issue. So just still going down that route for my character. And then for the secondary characters in the party, I'm just going down their usual stats. So T3, M4, and Mission have the tech abilities. Candrace and Karth have the soldier abilities. Zalbar I haven't used too much, but I'm doing just Wookiee strength kind of thing. Bastila, I'm not really set on anything she's doing, so just usual stuff that looks good for what I need her for until Darth Malak kidnaps her. So there's that. And then I didn't keep Juhani in the party. Not that I have anything against her character. Her side quest is actually super intriguing with her past and the slavers and the escape from that and all of that. But it's not necessarily anything. Not that any of the side quests deal with the overarching story, and not that I'm expecting to do much of anyone's stories really, but it's just a side quest that is, I mean, it's kind of like Bastila's side quest that is hard to initiate, but Mission's brother's side quest ties into the story pretty well. Bastila's does a little bit as well as far as doing stuff, but that's one of those things. And even with Karth's son, Korriban, his side quest works out nicely. Candrace too a little bit, but Juhani doesn't really. It's more of her past which works out as far as her anger and falling to the dark side and all of that stuff. But as far as anything tied to the story, her past doesn't really do too much. So it's not. It's almost like her story wasn't either hashed out or it wasn't meant to be anything that hashed out to begin with. So yes, on one hand, I would have liked to have a bigger story for her, either with Korriban in the Sith Academy, or on even on Dantooine. I mean, I think her friend shows up, but that's about it. But more directly tied with something for her on Korriban or something would have been nice. So. But regardless, my gameplays are going up on the YouTube channel. I'm doing the preview videos via YouTube Shorts for all of the gameplays, so all of that's up on the YouTube channel at youtube.com/PatelN01. But that's actually all there is for this episode. So for next week, look out for the full summary recap for Battlestar Galactica. I should have it done by then. So there'll be that review. I'll probably have you guys updated next week also, as far as if I'm gonna start watching Caprica or do a rewatch of that. I did end up watching in full, and originally like I mentioned, but I never did like it. I never got into it. It was okay. It was too much of, not that the daughter was a problem, but it was too much on her and her stuff, and I could never get into the rest of the stories. But now that I know the rest of the characters from Battlestar Galactica, maybe that'll help give a better perspective for Caprica. So with that being said, that's all there is for this particular episode. So you can follow along for all videos up on the YouTube channel at youtube.com/PatelN01. The website is HeadphonesNeil.reviews for past episodes, subscription links, supporting the show, and all of that good stuff. But thanks for tuning into this episode, and until next time.